Hello and welcome to the newest episode of Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and the Patriots have made it official. Mike Vrabel has tabbed his newest offensive and defensive coordinators, and both an old face and a new face are making their way into Foxborough. There could be some new names to target on the wide receiver trade market, and a New England Patriot is up for a major award from the NFL. We jump into everything coming your way in the latest episode right now. Looking at those coordinators, the worst kept secret, if you will, McDaniels is officially in the fold, as well as Terrell Williams. So the offensive and defensive coordinators, respectively, now set for new head coach Mike Vrabel. The old face, obviously, Josh McDaniels coming in. Amazing success at the highest level, one of the most ready-made offense coordinators on the scene, obviously, but because of everything that Josh has done in the NFL. And his reputation as an offense coordinator speaks for itself. Now, people will point to his record and resume as a NFL head coach, but that is not the opportunity that he's coming in for. As the offensive coordinator, he essentially becomes the head coach of the offense. Now, that will not be his title, but Mike Vrabel can now rely on him to do that, to take Drake May, to foster one of the great young quarterbacks in the NFL, and install a scheme that maximizes his potential. Before Josh even was thought of to be a candidate, when Alex Van Pelt was in place and Gerard Mayo was the head coach, on an episode of Julian Edelman's podcast, Josh McDaniels spoke about Drake May and talked about his ability as a rusher and being able to do that. So don't be surprised if Drake May is not just utilized as a pocket quarterback, as we saw with Tom Brady, but also making use of his dual threat ability. Now, on the other side of the ball, Terrell Williams, who is the defensive line coach for the Detroit Lions, one of the best records in the NFL, the number one seed in the NFC. And Dan Campbell now loses yet another another coach off of that staff. Aaron Glenn going to the New York Jets, Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears, the head coaches respectively for those teams, and now his defensive line coach coming to the Patriots. And no surprise, Mike Vrabel with another tie-in from a previous spot. Terrell Williams was with him in Tennessee. And it's exactly the type of coach that you would expect to see Mike Vrabel bring in on the defensive side, because it's somebody that already has been quoted that he wants mean players. He wants some nasty guys up front and go after people and set a new tone for this defense. And there are several players that I think could fit in with that mold, and don't be surprised to see both Mike Vrabel and Elliott Wolf identify some free players in free agency that could help Terrell Williams immediately. Additionally, for the Patriots into free agency, but into the trade market, there's some names floating around there. Obviously, Cooper Kupp has a massive deal for the Los Angeles Rams, and they have Puka Nacua, potentially one of the top 5 wide receivers in the game right now, at a much lower rate. So that could mean that Cooper Kupp could be available. Now, it's not just the media pundits taking note of this. It was actually a current Patriots wide receiver, Kendrick Bourne, took note of this and actually went on X to post, quote unquote, "Come to New England, we'll take care of all the targets." So that's a current wide receiver for the Patriots telling another player on a different team in the NFL, and a Super Bowl MVP, I might add, to come to New England. Obviously, would be great pairing that with Drake May. Whether that could actually work, salary cap, obviously it could, but will Elliott Wolf and Mike Vrabel deem that, the package, the trade compensation, second rounder, third, fifth, if they can iron those things out, as well as understand what the type of contract coming back to the New England Patriots, and for an aging wide receiver, we talked about that in the last episode about Tyreek Hill coming on, but these are high-profile names that are being talked about to pair with Drake May. Just the fact that we're even there and now have current Patriot players talking about this is an exciting time. One more to throw out there as well is a name that several teams could be after should he become available, and this is early in the process, is Seattle wide receiver DK Metcalf. Infamously, the Patriots decided to pass on him in the NFL draft, did not decide to select him. He has gone on to very good success in Seattle, but Seattle now having a problem, if you will, a glut of wide receivers now, with Jackson Smith and Jigba now leading the charge and in store for a real third-year breakout. Tyler Lockett, obviously there, Jake Bobo, someone under the radar. But if DK becomes available, someone else for the Patriots to get back to on the trade market. Again, we'll probably be looking at more of the potential free agent signings and T. Higgins and Chris Godwin and the other people out there, but we'll see if those top signings do not work out. We've talked about how the wide receiver market will be top heavy. Those top guys will go. There's not going to be a ton of impact players. So it could be the trade market that is the next logical step for the Patriots to go after DK Metcalf and now Cooper Kupp, that major name that could be an option for the New England Patriots. Looking also into the NFL draft, we're hearing rumors. It started that this was going to be a top two quarterback 1-2 selection with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders at the top of the draft. More and more mocks starting to come out, and we're seeing those quarterbacks start to slide down in those NFL draft prognostications, if you will. And it's Shedeur and Cam actually coming off the board later in those drafts. Now, this could have a big impact on the Patriots because this means players like Travis Hunter immediately go. Abdul Carter goes up towards the top of the draft. That means the quarterbacks now could actually be available at pick number 4 and could behoove the Patriots to say, look, if a team wants to come up, if the New York Jets want to come up and take a quarterback, if the New York Giants want to take a quarterback and move back a little bit, if other teams say, hey, we've got a hole and we need to fill this, and we believe in Cam Ward, we believe in Shedeur Sanders, suddenly the Patriots can start to stockpile some more of those assets and potentially move back and get a player that could fit the scheme very well. And again, we mentioned Abdul Carter, so Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan. With the Patriots roster as currently constructed, there are a lot of holes. The two big ones we continue to talk about are the offensive line and the wide receiver position. Tet McMillan would be there in that scenario, and you'd be able to move back a spot or two, get Tet McMillan, and also potentially have the draft capital to move back into the first round and secure an offensive tackle. Calvin Banks and Will Campbell from Texas and LSU, respectively, are two of the top options this year. It would be tough to get back into that top 10, top 15 without moving back initially to secure that spot. So Patriots fans were going to be very hopeful that those quarterbacks continue to slide back. Again, now very early in the draft process, we need to get through the Super Bowl, through free agency, and get to the combine to start to see where these players really will fall. But some good news initially that they're not immediately at the top of everyone's draft board as they initially were, that it's starting to come back and potentially opening some things up for the New England Patriots and what it really could look like for them, and opening up the draft board a little bit more and starting to fill a lot of these holes that they do have. Again, things will really start to change with free agency and who they're able to get and the trades that they're able to make. But again, very early in the process, but some real options and some good ones for the Patriots as they head into draft season. Looking back a little bit, though, we will actually send some kudos onto the Patriots. A finalist for a major award for the comeback player of the year is Christian Gonzalez. The second-year cornerback obviously went down with a season-ending injury last year, came back and played at a phenomenally high level, cementing himself as a top 5 cornerback in this league right now. The tough part is Christian Gonzalez is probably not going to win this award. He is behind some serious candidates. Joe Burrow had an MVP season. Unfortunately, the Bengals defense did not allow that team to get to the playoffs, which caps him from probably winning this award. Sam Darnold, who actually did lead his team to the playoffs and were a 1 win away in the last game of the season from getting that number 1 seed, something that nobody, I think, saw coming here. But the big one, obviously, is Damar Hamlin, going from having that cardiac arrest episode on the field to becoming a starter for the Buffalo Bills, who are now going into the AFC Championship, the chance to get to the Super Bowl. And also shout out to J.K. Dobbins, who went from a debilitating injury himself, signing with a new team in the Los Angeles Chargers and solidifying that backfield for head coach Jim Harbaugh and giving someone that Justin Herbert could lean on as well. But either way, a phenomenal tip of the cap to Christian Gonzalez to work extremely hard in the offseason, get back to where he needs to. And one of the two players on this Patriots roster, along with Drake May, that both Mike Vrabel, Robert Kraft, all of the Patriots front office can hang their hat on to say, hey, they've got cornerstones on either side of the ball to continue to work around. That'll do it for us here on Pat's Latest. Be sure to subscribe, like, set notifications, and check us out as we get our next episode rolling. Fight on, Foxborough.